All right. Okay, and then Jenny just joined.
Perfect.
Hey, Jenny.
Hey, everyone.
Hey, nice to see you.
Good to see you too.
All right, let's get started. Welcome, everybody. It's nice to see you guys. I think our last general body meeting was on January, so we have a lot to talk about what's gone over in the past year. I feel like it flew by really fast. I don't know about you guys. And now we're about to start 2022.
That's crazy. Yeah, I can't believe that it's the next year almost. But we're happy that everyone can join us today. As Elaine mentioned, we have a lot to catch you up on. First off, I think that the first thing is, Elaine and Jenny are two of our new co-directors. So if y'all haven't been formally introduced to them, they've been kind of getting things going behind the scenes. And so this is a great opportunity to just give them a little shout out, say hello, and yeah, we'll go from there. So I think just to get everyone started, why don't we go around? There's not that many of us on this call. We can go around, introduce ourselves. You can say what school we're from, what year you're in if you like, what your role is in NeuroEquity, anything you want to mention, just a brief little introduction. So I guess I'll start. So I'm Roxana. I am a third-year medical student at New York Medical College. I am one of the co-directors for NeuroEquity, and I'm happy to be here with y'all.
All right, I can go next. I'm Elaine. I go to Dell Medical School at the University of Texas at Austin. I heard about NeuroEquity from Deanna, who's one of the co-founders. Now she's in neuro residency at UT Austin. I see her around. She looks super cool. She's super smart. I look up to her. And yeah, I'm happy to be here. And then I'll pass it to Jenny.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jenny Abdul Karim. I'm one of the other co-directors of NeuroEquity. I went to med school at American University of the Caribbean in St. Martin, and now I'm a neuro resident. So I'm a prelim at Griffin Hospital, and I'm going to be doing my advanced program in neuro at Rutgers Robert Wood Johnson in my home state, New Jersey. So very nice to meet you all.
So why don't we, how about this? We'll pass it up to the next person. I'm just going to go down the list I have, but why don't you shout out somebody else that hasn't talked? Like whoever ends, their introduction, just shout out somebody else, and then we'll just kind of go from there. So the next person on my list is Caitlin, which she kind of gave us a little bit of an introduction, but why don't you, give us a little bit more.
Yeah, so again, my name's Caitlin Wessel. I'm a second-year medical student at the University of Louisville. I heard about NeuroEquity from Phil actually like a couple weeks ago and love the concept. And I currently don't have any roles since I kind of just found out about it, but I am really excited to kind of get involved with wherever, we need help. Yeah.
And do you want to shout someone out, or do you want me to just go down my list?
Could you go down the list, because I'm doing it on my phone, so I'm actually having a hard time pulling up the participant list. Thanks.
That's fine. So the next person I have is Danielle, and correct, I'm so sorry if I pronounced this wrong, Yusupov.
No, that was great. Thank you. Hey, everybody. My name is Daniel. I'm a fourth-year medical student at Temple University in Philadelphia. Also currently going through residency interviews and all that fun jazz. Yeah, I don't know what my current role is right now. I think I'm just a member at large.
Member at large is a great role to have. That's, one of the best roles. So yeah, welcome. And as Bill aptly mentioned, yeah, we do have a lot of subcommittee members here that we'll introduce as well. So next on my list, actually speaking of, is Darm. Again, I'm sorry for butchering anybody's name, but Darm, do you want to introduce yourself, your role, etc.?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks everyone for joining. My name is Daimler. I, along with Phil, I'll be shouting you out next so you can have your blurb ready. We're the co-directors for the Healthcare Advocacy and Policy Committee. And I had a wonderful chance to get involved right around when everything was starting up with NeuroEquity mid last year. And it's kind of just been a really interesting ride, and just kind of meeting people, learning about it, and trying to get some work done along the way. So grateful for the experience. And oh, I'm from University of Queensland, Oshner, also interviewing, and I actually just recently graduated. On to you, Phil.
Yeah, so that'll be me next. Thank you. I'm like a vampire. You have to let me in. So my name's Phil. I'm a third year at the University of Louisville School of Medicine in Louisville, Kentucky. It's Cardinals, for anyone who's familiar, are bourbon whiskey or horse racing. So I am, like Daimler said, I'm one of the co-directors of the Healthcare Policy and Advocacy Subcommittee. I got involved kind of randomly during the quarantine when I was looking for online ways to really get involved in neurology, and came across like the AAN Synapse forum where Deanna and Roxana had kind of initially started brainstorming the idea, and got involved in that point. And I guess in terms of other things, I have specific interests in telehealth, healthcare accessibility, as well as LGBTQ and racial disparities within neurology, and figuring out ways to address them, amongst many, many other things. I think they're all as important. And so I'm really looking forward to ways to bringing all that into the advocacy realm and healthcare policy realm of this kind of thing.
Phil was one of our, initial like alpha. I'm trying to think of the best way to phrase it, but like one of the founders, was with us. Yeah, he was there when we were there and starting it. But yeah, no, there's a lot of great work coming from the Healthcare Advocacy Subcommittee that you guys will hear about in just a short moment. So next on my list, I'm just going down the list of participants. I have Fatima. Are you here with us?
Hi. So I'm a third year UMHS student. I go to Caribbean Medical School, and I am part of the PR team. And I've also started off with everybody when COVID first, went crazy. And me and two other ladies are really like spearing the PR team. And so yeah, if you guys see us on Instagram, it's from us.
Yeah, guys, if you haven't gone on Instagram, these ladies have done a phenomenal job, like much better than I could ever do. And they have all these like really aesthetically pleasing posts about things that we're doing or partnerships that we have. And like Fatima mentioned, she was also there. A lot of these folks that are online here were there when we first started. So we're so grateful to have them with us. Speaking of which, Laurel, I know you said you were driving. Do you feel like you can introduce yourself? If not, that's okay.
Hi guys, I'm in the car, so I'm sorry if it's a little hard to hear me. I'm traveling down to visit my family, but my name's Laurel. Dominique and I are the leaders of the Mentorship Subcommittee. I'm really excited to hear about what else is going on with NeuroEquity, and Dominique will fill in for me to talk about updates from us.
Wonderful. So let's go down the list that I have here. Who's Meha's up next?
Hi everyone, I'm Meha. I'm a third year med student at Wright State University, Boonshaw School of Medicine. I have been on the periphery following NeuroEquity since it started. So just here to hear what's been going on and see if there's any way I can help out. So yeah.
Welcome, and thanks for joining us again. And I think, yeah, there are definitely opportunities that we'll talk about today. So stay tuned. And then we have Namita. Is Namita with us?
Hi, can you?
We can hear you. You're coming in a little bit broken up.
Okay, sorry about that. I'm Namita. I am a fourth year medical student at Virginia Commonwealth University. And I actually heard about NeuroEquity from Laurel and joined as a general member, and also got involved with the education subcommittee as part of the Pursuing NeuroEquity interview series. And I'm excited to hear about all the updates.
Wonderful. Okay. I think, and if I missed you, let me know, because these participants keep on like shifting in my list. I think the last one here is Skylar.
Hello, I'm Skylar. I'm a third year at UTL San Antonio here in San Antonio. I heard about NeuroEquity from the original founders on the AN forums. Didn't really get a chance to participate in a more active role at the time, but I've definitely been following along with everything that's been going on. And there's been the journal club and there's been various activities. Hopefully next year as an M4, I'll be able to participate more actively, but I've just been lurking and I happened to find out about this meeting. So excited to hear what has been going on.
We're excited to share it with you guys. Thank you, Skylar. Okay, so hopefully I didn't miss anybody. If I did, just like shout out. But I think, Elaine, do you want to get started with some of our updates, and we'll pass it on to some of the subcommittee leaders to give their update?
Yes, let's do it. So I have a PowerPoint. I'm going to share my screen, and then I think whenever the subcommittees, like if you guys have any PowerPoints or anything, you guys have access to share too. All right, can you all see my screen? All right, perfect. All right, so like we said, welcome to our general body meeting in December. Some general updates. Roxanne did a great job of introducing Jenny and I. We're the two new additions to the co-director team, and we're really excited to be here and to be a part of NeuroEquity. And it's been a great couple of months so far. And then we also have new subcommittee leadership. I didn't see them on the call, which is totally fine. But I put their names on the next slide, so we'll kind of introduce them at that time. And then Roxanne, do you want to take over the next two?
Yeah, sure. So some of you might have been following this project that we had with the residency wish list that was kind of spearheaded by one of our education subcommittee leaders. She's now a first-year resident, so her hands have been tied with all the things that encompass an intern year. But so a lot of people were interested in hearing about this idea that she had created, and we got reached out by the Child Neurology Society, who invited us to do a presentation on our residency wish list. And for those of you who are joining us or haven't been as intimately involved with that, it's basically kind of like, in a way, demands, and I say that like in a nice way, of changes we would like to see incorporated in our residency curriculum. And these are 15 like wish list items that range from research, equitable research, to equitable neurological exam, learning the history of neurological disparities, so on and so forth. And then we gave an abbreviated presentation of that at the Child Neurology Society annual meeting. It was really well received from what I've been told. And we've gotten a couple people reaching out to us to just have a conversation, see how they can implement some of this, including at Dell, right? There's a new neurology program there. And correct me if I'm saying any of this incorrectly, but so it was just really cool to have a lot of people reach out to us, including actually when I gave a presentation, someone from my home institution like reached out and said, oh, hey, like we would love to connect with you more about this. I'm like, oh, you go to my school? Yeah, that'll be easy. So that's one of the updates we really wanted to share with you. The other one is that, so we've been working with the AAN, the American Academy of Neurology has been working on this anti-racism curriculum that will be available for like neurologist trainees alike to enroll in, so to speak. And there are certain modules, and one of the modules that they're working on is trying to curate stories from people in the profession who have experienced racism, from whether it be their patients or from whomever in the workforce. And so we sent out a call for submissions a little while ago. We're continuing to, we're going to keep that open. If you guys yourself have a story where you felt like you were, receiving some anti-racism comments, or just, that environment was more of like a biased environment, or if you witnessed something, like it didn't happen to you directly, but you witnessed it and you want to share that either in a written piece, or if you want to, we can always pair you up if it's easier to do like a interview style format, or if you want to just talk about it. You know, some people don't like any on camera, so I understand that. So if you want to write a piece, that's also fine. But some people might find it easier to kind of talk to someone about it and share their story that way. So if you want to submit in any format, just let us know, and we're willing to figure out a way best for you to do that. So those are two, I think, big projects that have either occurred or are ongoing that we wanted to share with the general body. So before we go forward, any questions about that? Okay, if not, if you have a question later on, or if you want to reach out, you know, offline, you know our email, so it's neuroequity, one word, @gmail.com. So just shoot us an email.
Yeah, I just put the email in the chat. So yeah, if you have any questions or any submissions to this curriculum, you're welcome to do so. We'd love to hear from you, anything at all. All right. So now I wanted to move on to subcommittee updates. And so we'll kind of just pass along the mic to the leaders of each subcommittee, and you'll get to hear from them and the upcoming opportunities. So starting with education, Roxana, do you mind taking this one too? I don't think Victoria or
Yeah,
Tess are here.
absolutely. So as I mentioned, Tess was one of the subcommittee leaders for education. She was spearheading the residency curriculum wish list. That work group that we had, it was like, I want to say 8 to 10 of us. And so we, just to give you guys a little bit of a background, we submitted it to Neurology, the journal. They had a lot of comments that they wanted us to, you know, incorporate and revise. And unfortunately, it wasn't accepted, but we're going to take those comments and work on them, do some edits over, you know, I don't know if everybody has the same kind of winter break schedule, but over the next 2 weeks, we're going to work on that and try to submit it to, I think it was JAMA we wanted to do, and then there's another journal. So we're kind of hoping that whoever is interested in doing some more of those edits, we obviously would credit you accordingly. If you wanted to join that work group, either let us know in the chat or send us an email. You can send either the education NeuroEquity Gmail, but probably just if you want to submit to the NeuroEquity main email is probably better. Just because, you know, myself and Sarah, one of the other work group members, have been trying to get this going. So yeah, so that's that. And like I said, it ranges from different topics like equitable neurological research, you know, working with disadvantaged groups and language barriers and immigrant populations, and there's a lot in there. So if you have any interest in any of that, or you have any questions, just shoot us an email. Other than that, we also have Victoria, who was working on these seminar series. So, you know, one of them was the health disparities and personal development workshops. And then the other one was the Pursuing NeuroEquity campaign, one of which has been already uploaded to our YouTube channel. So if you go to YouTube and just like type in NeuroEquity, you should find our YouTube channel, and it has all of our meetings, journal clubs, you know, different events we've been involved in, and this Pursuing NeuroEquity campaign. So you can find all that there. And at this point, I think, and maybe, let's see, we had Meha, you said, or Namita, sorry. Namita said that she was also involved with that. So if she has anything to add as well, she can. But it looks like they're just trying to recruit more people to join that campaign. So
yeah, that's correct. It would be great to have more people who are interested join us so that we can do this on a more frequent and regular basis.
So just to be clear, you're seeking NeuroEquity members to join you guys to kind of keep it going?
Yeah, NeuroEquity members or anybody really interested in joining, because when we did the first interview, I think we did share it with the NeuroEquity group, and we did have some attendance, but perhaps we could plan it ahead of time for the future one so that we could have more of a discussion during those interview series conversations, and and hopefully reach more people.
Absolutely. And I think one of the biggest advantages of a group like this is that we're all from different schools. So like if there's anything going on that, you know, let's say it's a journal club, or let's say it's, you know, like a interview like this, I try to send it out as like a mass email to like my class in my school, which I'm sure they're, you know, they've got enough emails for me at this point, but that's something that we all can do that's like so little effort. So that's one way it just came into my mind of how we can try to increase the amount of attendees and then also have a more enriching discussion as a result. So definitely, thank you so much for that. Do you, just as a question, do you have any, is there a need for like finding speakers, or is like there's a certain, you know, niche for that somebody can kind of help you guys with and step up to the plate?
We did have a short list of people that we had in mind that we wanted to interview, and it's been growing, but we would love if there is additional input that anybody has, or any contacts, any people that you know are doing amazing work that we could learn from. It would be great to hear from too. Yeah.
Great. Okay. So with that said, and again, if you guys have any questions, just shoot them in the chat and we can address them. But why don't we move on to healthcare policy next?
All right, let me see if, let me just get my desktop up here. I have my own PowerPoint here. Daimler and I made one. Let me see if I can get that up.
All right, great. You guys should be able to share, and I'll stop sharing right now.
All right, that sounds good. I guess I can just get started, at least talking about some of the things, like do a recap of last year while I figure this out. Apparently I have to like enable Zoom. Daimler, are you able to share your screen?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, you want to give it a try? But while we get this set up, I just wanted to give a little recap of last year and where we've been at since then. So since the beginning of NeuroEquity, I think one of the biggest challenges as far as healthcare policy and advocacy, it seems to have been like an identity thing for us more than anything else. There were a lot of intermediate conversations that really led us getting to the AAN and talking to them, and basically us agreeing on the fact that like there isn't really much of a developed blueprint for trainee involvement in like health disparity advocacy. So it's a very specific topic, but it really gives us the advantage of basically having the opportunity to write that blueprint and get some new things. So, you know, after kind of a few conversations, the one thing we really wanted to get off the ground last year was our advocacy week, to have some real discussions about, you know, healthcare policy and advocacy events that have, you know, impacted both the past and how things have been run and things going into the future, and highlight a few physicians that really have some knowledge on these kinds of things to help guide these things in the future. So we got that up. Yeah, I guess Daimler, would you mind just being the, yeah, moving here. So first, I have a little QR code and a link, and we can just have people pause this in the YouTube video when we have this up. So this is going to be our Google Doc sign up. And we want to give people the opportunity again to kind of list some of their specific interests within, you know, NeuroEquity and things like that, and give their emails and some of their positions so we can better help guide people in projects that we have in the future. We can go to the next one. So with what we had said before, and since we've been in contact with the AAN and just gotten a general idea of where things are going, I think it's really given us a much better idea of how to tackle this topic in the future. And we're really excited for some of the things coming down the road. General goals for just the whole year of 2022 basically is to start including regular online content in our programming. I think I'm gonna mirror what some people have talked about already in terms of, especially the education subcommittee, in terms of wanting us to increase our visibility. I think we have this, we're connected to a lot of residency programs on Instagram and things like that. And like the healthcare policy subcommittee, we really like to expand how much these programs and just people in general see from us. And I think that would be a great opportunity because it does take time to kind of build a viewership and help extend these conversations to like different institutions and everything. Definitely now that we have a better idea of where to head, have more member involvement in like concrete projects moving forward, have things that we say like, we really love people to help on this. This is what you guys can do. And then, like we said before, just help write the blueprint for med student as well as resident, neuro advocacy moving forward. Next slide. All right, great. And then upcoming projects. So number one is going to be student involvement in neurology on the Hill. So this was something that we've been working on since the inception of NeuroEquity, something that got lightly investigated during the quarantine, but now that things are kind of moving out of that, and the AAN is going to have a virtual Neurology on the Hill this year. Something that we're really working on. It's AAN's yearly day on Capitol Hill. I'm sure everyone who's been involved in student advocacy at their school has had something similar, like a day on the Capitol or things like that. And it's something that we as med students have not really been invited to participate in the past, but we've been in contact with the AAN and they'd be interested in finding ways to include us. So this is going to be a big project. It's a very open project at this point. And we would love to have 1 to 2 members on as like coordinators and liaisons to help plan these things in the future, because we had this awesome opportunity to basically get ourselves in on the ground floor of this and work with the AAN to help build, our version of the wish list, so to speak, in terms of, how we'd want to advocate for like equity, help like NeuroEquity and all these things.
Yeah, I think that, like when we talked about as a group or a subcommittee what we could both like feasibly achieve and also like provide our members or those that are interested with the experience to help them set up, pursue their passions and interests within advocacy. There seemed to be a lot of interest from the AAN and some of the leadership that are involved with Neurology on the Hill in trying to get a seat at the table. I think last that we talked, I guess a big achievement for us would be, which I think we're kind of trying to work on, is if we can somehow secure like a travel stipend or scholarship for med students specifically that would be interested. And it seemed like from the people that Phil and I chatted with, there was interest in trying to make that happen, both on AAN side as well as some of the leaders that we spoke to. There's actually someone that we managed to touch base with. He's, I guess, the leaders of the grassroots advocacy organization at the AAN, and they were extremely interested in our organization and helping us just, I guess, learn more and expand our reach. So we're working on that, and hopefully by next year we'll have, I guess, when Neurology on the Hill is having an opportunity for 1 or 2 med students to ideally participate.
Yeah, we can move to the next one here as well. All right, and then next thing that we kind of talked about, that I kind of talked about and touched on briefly, is we want to find ways to include just content on social media and things like that. Biggest thing that we had thought of is going to be finding a regularly planned social media posting, as well as a Zoom meeting to discuss current topical healthcare policy in neurology and things that affect the way that care is going to be dispersed in terms of health disparities and things like that. So big things like looking at, the Healthcare Disabilities Act, the American Disabilities Act, and changes to that for the disabled community. Looking at other pieces of literature that are coming out right now in the House and the Senate that are going to be able to impact our care in the future. This is something similar, I think, to pursuing NeuroEquity, that it's a very open floor. We're really looking for open contributors from the member base to to put forward. You're obviously going to be credited for any work you do in terms of writing these and continuing the conversation. And then we can go to the next one.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say, Phil, you did a great job with the Neuro Disparity Advocacy Week and putting that together. So I think that was a pretty cool highlight that we had this year. And I think you said that's being put online, right?
Oh yeah, sorry. It is online actually.
Okay, sweet, awesome. So that was
Yeah, that's
great.
it's something that we've been we were gonna have a little bit of a release with the PR team, and we're gonna figure that out in a little bit. But yeah, so it's up on the YouTube channel, the seminar days that we had.
Cool.
So then looking at this other thing here, this is actually something that one of our recently graduated members of the Healthcare Policy and Advocacy Committee, Stella, who was one of our recent leaders, has been working with Dr. Mil Etienne over at New York Medical College, who is somebody who's actually a speaker at the Advocacy Week series. He does a lot of work in TBI, and some of the impacts on health disparities that it has in populations. And one thing that she had discussed was that he was specifically looking at TBI in incarcerated populations. And she was interested in working with us because apparently the national statistic is that I may be botching a little bit, so I'm sorry if you see this on YouTube, Stella. But she sends her wishes to everyone that 38% of prisoners nationwide have some range of traumatic brain injury, and it's it's a very commonly anecdotal predisposition to violent behaviors and things like that. So we would love to take a written piece, something like a Neurology Today or some other medical journal, just do some medical writing and look at just some anecdotal pieces of, how has this affected people's lives? How do neurologists feel about it, and how can neurologists be involved in more, preventative or immediate care of traumatic brain injuries to help, people in incarcerated populations and destigmatizing it. And we would love to have 1 to 2 more people on board to help with some of the investigation and writing of it. And, Stella's definitely given us the blessing to really help her out with this, because her and I both really believe in something like this as like a very concrete project. We can go to the next one. And yeah, then Advocacy Week / Series 2022, Tamler and I have both had a little bit of a conversation about which way we want to take this. So this is something that we'd love to have other people's input on. Last year, we had 3 to 4 people help us out, ourselves included, to help plan it and kind of take the point on a different day about it and everything. We're not necessarily bound to the week like last time, because obviously this is going to be a virtual series. We don't have to have everyone necessarily in the same place at the same time. So we're open to having it be a seminar series, but kind of the same thing as pursuing neuroequity. If you have anybody that who is knowledgeable on healthcare policy and a specific topic that hasn't been covered already in some of the things that we've done or the other subcommittees, we'd love to have them come and speak on kind of the state of healthcare policy and advocacy in neurology. And then I know Daimler also has a little blurb for an AMA conference that we can participate in.
Yeah, I think that one of the great parts of this subcommittee is also just kind of improving our overall understanding of advocacy and just learning about it and trying to see how we can practice it. And I did one of these last year, but the one that I did was actually the Advocacy Scholars Program through AMSA. So if you're a member of AMSA, I'd encourage you to check that out. That was some really cool experience, and just kind of builds up both your knowledge and framework of it. And this year, I think it was cool to highlight that the AMA, and both of these are free for medical students, as long as you're part of, as long as you're a member, which I believe should be free as well. But the AMA is doing a medical student advocacy conference, which is free to participate in. So anyone that's interested, highly encourage you to check that out if you have the time, because I think it's definitely helpful.
Yeah. So that's perfect. Yeah, and I guess we don't want to take up too much of everyone else's time, because I feel like we've been talking for a minute now. But there's the QR code again. You can contact us at any of these emails if you're interested in participating in anything, if you have a particular passion. We're very open to accepting new ideas for how to take things, and we'd love to have everyone involved, as many as we can. So yeah, thank you for being out there with us this long.
Thank you guys. Thank you, Phil. Thank you, Daimler, for those updates. They were wonderful. I'm gonna share my screen again, but it sounds like there are so many opportunities for people to get involved. And you can either hit up the email of the committee of the opportunity you're interested in, or you can email neuroequity@gmail.com and we'll direct you to the right place. All right, let's move on to the research subcommittee. I don't think so. like I said earlier, we recently, sorry about that. We recently had new leadership for this subcommittee, Sarah, Hassan, Ali, and Will. And unfortunately, they weren't able to make it today. But Jenny, do you mind speaking on their behalf? I know you've been working with them too.
Yeah, so I've been pretty involved in the research subcommittee. It's been taking a lot of work, mainly because, this research subcommittee kind of our objective of this group in general is to conduct our own original research. And you can imagine that with, so many subcommittee leaders from, different institutions, it can be really difficult to kind of implement like even one major project. So I'll just kind of like introduce each of them kind of briefly and then talk about what our goals are regarding this subcommittee. So I'll start off just briefly with Sarah. She's from Ohio State, and she's really interested in disparities with minorities. And Hassan, he is a second year, I believe, when I had met him. He may be a third year now. He's at Lake Erie's DO program, and he actually worked as a statistician. So it's great that we have someone that can like kind of run numbers for us with their own projects. So I think it's really valuable to have someone like him. And from what I gather, he kind of, saw himself during his rotations, like differences within, equity among like patients in general. So he kind of wanted to get involved in some research with that. And then we have William, who is from the University of Guadalajara, and he is also interested in, more or less the same objective. And he's been involved in like student-led organizations within his university. And he's also interested in kind of getting involved in QI projects and journal club. And then lastly, we have Ali, who also has been interested in like systematic review, data collection. And I feel like with these 4 people, we have a pretty solid group. One of the main objectives of this is kind of to conduct our own original research. And one of the groups that I'm also a part of within the ANA is the IDEAS Task Force, which is the Inclusion, Diversity, Equity, Anti-Racism, Social Justice Task Force. And I had a meeting with them a couple months ago. And one of the really big things that I gathered from that meeting, I was actually the only resident present at that meeting. It was mainly like attendings and some, attendings from different parts of the world. So they had a lot of different outlooks relative to, a student or a resident on how to kind of like tackle all of this. And I think one point that I brought up was that, I noticed like in, the publication world, there's not that much that's out there regarding, neurology in general and research that's been done regarding all of that. So one of the things that I was wondering about, and I brought that up during that meeting, is why isn't there enough research being done on this? And one of the answers that I got was because not that many of it is actually being accepted at these journals. And I think one of the reasons why is because, one, it is a very sensitive topic. It's a very controversial thing to actually conduct research on and to try to objectify and even to quantify these things. So that's something that we really have to work on within the research subcommittee is one, if we are going to conduct, a major project, it's going to take a while. 2, we need that N number to be really high. So how are we going to be able to do that? We need to work with other institutions and establishments and kind of figure out a way to have our own project kind of ongoing. And it's going to take a little bit of time, but I do feel like the more time that we take, trying to add, quality to the research that we're doing, the more value it'll add to, our objective overall as NeuroEquity and kind of contributing to the research world with, our own mission and our own objective. So that's pretty much what's been going on more or less with the research subcommittee. I've been like talking to them, kind of outside via email, and they're kind of just like brainstorming and trying to put ideas together. in order for, everyone to come up with a plan. So we definitely need a lot of manpower for a project like this. So this is kind of like to call out for anyone who would be interested in participating in research. One of the incentives of all of this is, of course, adding to your CV, adding to, your contribution to, research in general is, being involved in something this huge. So you guys can be more than welcome to either contact me through NeuroEquity's email, or you can, of course, contact the NeuroEquity research subcommittee leaders at researchneuroequity@gmail, and we can kind of like, take it from there and figure out a plan. So that's pretty much more or less what's been going on with the research subcommittee. And if you guys have any ideas or anything you'd like to add to our brainstorming, definitely feel free to contact any of us.
Thank you so much, Jenny. That was a great update and also really cool work that you're doing with the AMA. I didn't know. And it's great that you're able to give that perspective as well. All right, let's move on to mentorship. I didn't see Dominique. Laurel, I know you're still driving. Are you able to speak on kind of what the mentorship committee?
Can you hear me? I'm now on the highway and it's pouring. I'm not driving, I'm a passenger. So as long as you can hear me, I can fill in.
Yeah, we can hear you. Great.
Awesome. So for mentorship over the past year, we have a total of, I think, of 9 pairs right now. Initially, we had 10. And after reaching out, there was a mentee who was unable, I guess, to be contacted. So we were able to repair that group. And the goal of the mentorship program was to pair pre-med students interested in medicine, who in some way are a minority, to medical students who are interested in neurology and to have some sort of similarity in terms of their background or interests, to help coach and mentor these pre-medical students throughout their path, hopefully to medicine and then hopefully to neurology. And without getting into any personal details of the mentees, I wanted to share that we were actually able to make some really great pairs from mentees who are interested in not just medicine, but also grad school, and mentees who had concerns about things related to their background, related to either a language or disability, kind of all things. And we were able to make some really great pairs with the mentors that we had within NeuroEquity. So I'm really happy about that. In terms of future directions for, I guess, 2022, in terms of growing the program, I think first we would need more med student or resident mentors who would want to jump in and get really involved with the program. And once we have those, then I think Dominique and I would feel comfortable reaching out and finding ways to recruit more mentees in. Most of our mentees so far have come from the Women in Neuroscience group at UT Austin. And we, I think, have some connections at different schools and we'd be able to recruit more mentees in, but we kind of wanted to hold off to see the direction of NeuroEquity in the future and kind of, what interest can we pull into the mentorship program. We've had some ideas for how can we make this better, like we can reach out to mentees and really figure out what their goals are and see what we can do to kind of target that and really help them in individualized ways. But we wanted to first kind of get some extra help in terms of leading the mentorship committee, because Dominique and I are both 4th year students, and with the application or interview season, I think it's been a little difficult for us both to keep up with it. So more interest in helping us on the leadership end, but then also more interest in mentors as well.
Fantastic.
I think that's about it.
Yeah, thank you so much for the update. And also congratulations on the 9 pairs. That's really great. And yeah, more opportunities in the mentorship committee as well. And then moving on.
Sorry, I just want to interject really quickly. After hearing each subcommittee give their piece, I'm just more and more energized. But I think hearing about how we've really made an impact in future, whether it be scientists or physicians who feel they may have been at a disadvantage. I don't know. For me, that really warms my heart. So I'm a mushy gushy kind of person. I wanted to share my feelings with y'all. That's all I wanted to say. We can move on.
Oh, that's awesome. Mushy gushy feelings are always welcome. All right, let's move on to the PR committee. Fatima, are you still here?
Yep, I'm here.
Great.
So, so for the PR team, what we've been doing throughout the year was we were introducing certain subcommittee leader members. And then whenever there was an event going on, we would usually like advocate for that and just, try to make it so that a lot of people are able to attend these meetings if they're on Zoom or the YouTube stuff. So right now we have about 750, no, actually almost 800 Instagram followers and almost 450 Twitter followers. I know that Victoria has started the YouTube page, and that's been a huge project on her end. Laura and I have been, in the beginning of the year, we were like massively focusing on constantly having, our page being put on people's Instagram For You pages or whatever that is. So in the beginning of the year, that was our intent. And then towards the end of the year, everybody gets caught up with the exams and all that. So we haven't been doing as much, but I think as the year begins again next year, we'll start introducing subcommittee leaders again. And really our intent is to, whatever projects you guys have going on, for us to present it. So what we ask is for whichever leaders of whichever subcommittee, whatever you guys have going on, just send us an email at the PR NeuroEquity and tell us exactly what you want to say, and we'll continue to post it on Twitter and on Instagram. I think our goal for next year is to get to around like 2,500 members on Instagram and probably like 1,000 on Twitter. So I think it's very feasible. And when we start off with the year, like we start aggressively, it'll work out. And that's it.
Thank you, Fatima. Wow, the growth that's happened in like a little more than a year is amazing. Wow, so many followers. And like the comment said, if y'all weren't able to see, like the PR committee really is the backbone of NeuroEquity. They're the reason that other people know about us and what we've been doing. And so without their hard work, I don't know where NeuroEquity would be. But yeah, same with all the other subcommittees too. That leaves one more subcommittee to talk about, which is outreach. Still a growing committee, but just wanted to put it out there that we're seeking new leadership. We have this really cool idea of just like how NeuroEquity has, really united students from different medical schools. We wanted to do the same with different sign chapters, and start, having sign chapters talk to each other and share ideas, things that have worked, things that haven't, and start collaborating, especially with with Zoom. It's been so much easier to talk to other people, and so want to keep that momentum going. And so I wanted to go to the next slide, which is about communication. I know that's been a big thing that has kind of kept NeuroEquity afloat, sharing ideas, thoughts, opinions. And so I kind of wanted to just like put all in one slide the different avenues of communication. So we have our Slack channel that has been an ongoing process. I put the link here, but it's a little long. So if you want to just email neuroequity@gmail.com, we can definitely invite you and send you like a individual invite link instead, if that's easier. And then we have different channels for the different subcommittees as well. And then as we were talking about, here's our main email. You can reach us with any questions, thoughts, opinions, suggestions, recommendations, anything at all. You're welcome to reach out to us and we'll respond. And then here are the different subcommittee emails. If there was an opportunity that really interested you, please feel free to reach out to them or reach out to the neuroequity@gmail.com, and we'll steer you in the right direction. And then last but not least, like I said, we're seeking new leadership for the outreach committee. And so I put the Google form here at the bottom. And then I'll probably send out the link again, and it's also on Slack as well. So yeah. And then right now, I just wanted to open it up to any questions that you guys might have. I know we're kind of reaching the hour mark and I want to respect everyone's time, but any questions, any thoughts or suggestions, I'd love to hear them.
I just wanted to say, honestly, I think everyone's been doing such a phenomenal job. From when NeuroEquity started, it was like, I was a part of that first group and I was like, wow, this is like a little, baby organization. And now, so many people know about it and a lot of people have been joining. So I'm really, just proud of, of the progress that NeuroEquity has made over such a short period of time and how much we've actually accomplished as well. Like there's a lot of people that, from different institutions that'll throw out ideas and that'll have their own, plans within their own institution. But I've never really seen an organization like this to actually do something like pretty much nationwide. So I'm really proud of everybody.
International wide, because we have lots of members that are from
Yes.
Turkey and I mean all corners of the world. So I think a lot of us are based in the United States and Canada, but we're international. But yeah, I echo those thoughts. I think just like from my perspective, it's y'all are the pieces that keep this organization going and like creating and doing. And so I'm so thankful for you all, because just hearing what you guys have put together and how your ideas have evolved and come to fruition, I'm mind blown. And I would have never thought in a million years I'd be a part of this. So I want to extend my gratitude to you all. I think you guys are amazing. And I hope wherever you go, like, even if you're part of NeuroEquity, I hope you still are, or you're not, we still keep in touch, because, I think y'all are really cool people.
I got a question. What's the name of the workspace or the Slack?
So I'm not very Slack savvy, but I think it's just NeuroEquity.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's
so.
A link that you have to join. I'm not sure who's the one that has to actually approve it, but
well, because I'm already on it. I've been on it for I guess like a year, and every time I try to get back into it, it loses the link. So I don't know if there's an exact name for. I could try NeuroEquity Workspace. Like maybe that's the name of it. So neuroequityworkspace.slack.com. Okay, that worked. So once people create an account, it might be easier to bookmark neuroequityworkspace.slack.com.
Yeah, I have an account with Slack. So normally whenever I log onto it, it just automatically lets me enter the NeuroEquity workspace Slack. So maybe if people create an account, it'll just automatically stay there.
Yeah, so that's what I thought would happen as well. But last year I joined the NeuroEquity Slack. I created an account, and when I logged out, it when you try to go back to that same link, the link directly to the Slack workspace, it says enter the name of the workspace of like the specific workspace, because the Slacks like it's not for overall Slack, it's for the specific workspace. So like people could use this link, or like if you just type in neuroequityworkspace.slack.com, that works, because I just tried it like a second ago and it let me in from just typing neuroequityworkspace.slack.com. Is another option. Just I don't know if that helps like anybody else, but it didn't work for me a second ago.
I know I just signed on, and I think that is correct. If you do NeuroEquity work, exactly what you're saying, neuroequityworkspace.slack.com, that looks like that's the one to go to. So definitely thank you for that, because it looks like someone else had that same issue, and now we can get it solved.
Yeah, that's great feedback.
Worked.
I actually do have a question for everybody that's a part of this group currently. This is Fatima from the PR. I was just wondering if you guys would be able to, if you have Instagram or Twitter or anything like that, just to promote our page if you're able to and if you're willing to, just so that if there are any neuro people on your followings that are interested but really don't know about NeuroEquity or anything like that, just so that we can have more exposure, and then it'll allow us to have more followers and stuff like that. So no pressure, but it would be a great opportunity to promote ourselves if you guys are all willing to do that.
That's
Yeah,
a
I wouldn't
wonderful
mind
idea.
that. Yeah, I think that's great. I wouldn't mind doing that at all. Would you mind if I just did like a quick screenshot and then shared it later on?
Yeah, that works perfectly fine. And
Okay.
there's a lot of stuff on the Instagram page and a lot of stuff on the Twitter page as well. So if you want to screenshot any of those, anything that looks like would be interesting for any of your followers, you guys can screenshot that and then just tag us and they'll be able to click on our page.
All right, I'm gonna do a screenshot right now, so I'm giving everyone a quick heads up. But I'll keep it brief.
Yeah, I do definitely second what Fatima said. I've tagged NeuroEquity like several times on my own Instagram, and some people joined just because like they didn't know what it was, and they were asking like, oh, it's this NeuroEquity. Like their page looks really cool. Like a lot of people have given good feedback on the Instagram. So, like you guys have been doing such a great job. And so, yeah, definitely like whenever people get a chance, like just tag NeuroEquity. There are people who are interested in joining and are curious to know what it is. So, definitely spread the word.
Any other questions, thoughts? Okay, well, I don't want to take y'all from a Sunday afternoon or whatever time zone you guys are in, a Sunday morning, afternoon, evening. But it was so great to see all of you, to hear all of your ideas, and to see like what we're gonna do in 2022. So I know we said this ad nauseum. If you're even slightly interested in something, shoot us an email. The respective people who are working on that, ask your questions. We're happy to kind of give you more information. And then if it's something that you want to do, sign up for it. But guys, happy holidays, happy new year, and I hope we all see you in 2022.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.